So today on Blue Gum Park Australia, I'm going to do some running repairs to my glass house. So here you can see where I've had a hinge I've screwed on with self drillers where it's actually snapped off. The two bolts are snapped off in the glass house. So that now that the bottom of the door's come loose, excuse me. So I need to repair that. So I tried it with screws, which has been a failure. So now I'm going to weld it shut. So we'll go through this process. It's been a month, I think it's been at least, since I've released a video. I had a bit of a disaster. My computer finally failed, so I've had to go shopping for a new computer and I've had to set it all up. So thus, I haven't put a video out for a while. So hopefully I'll put a few more out in the near future. So what I'm doing here is I'm removing the hinge or cutting the bolt heads off to get the hinge off. Now I'm going to go around and remove the paint where I want to put the new hinge on. So I'm going to weld it on so it's nice and strong, because the old one just below where I'm working there, it was welded on. It lasted for 11-12 years. So now I'm going to put on a new one, same method. I'll weld this one on, but because it's on a star picket, I'm going to have to manipulate it so it'll actually go into the star picket and fit nicely. So to do that, I'm going to grab another star picket and use my hammer to bash it into there to make it the shape of the inside of the star picket. So here we go there. I'm just going to hammer away and get it into the right sort of shape. You can see it puts a bit of a bend. If you look closely, it'll bend that up for me. So that's going to go in there. So then I'll use the welding clamp to hold onto it and keep it in place for us whilst I weld it. So we're going to do that. I'm going to use a stick welder out here because, as you can see, there's a bit of a breeze in the background, and if you use a MIG welder, which is commonly known as the glue gun, where you just pull the trigger and go, if you use it out at a bit of a breeze, the wind blows the actual gas away from where you're welding, so the gas is meant to be around the weld to prevent it from oxidizing. Windy day like this, it'll blow the gas away and the weld oxidize, which the layman's version of that is it'll look like honeycomb and there'll be all holes through it, which is terrible. So stick welders don't suffer from that issue. So that's why I'm using it out there, and it's a lot more portable. I've got a big old transform welder. You can buy little inverter welders now, little stick welders for a couple $100, and they're about the size of a big lunchbox. So, and very light, so you can carry them around anywhere, very mobile. And you only need welding electrodes instead of weld wire and weld gas and regulators and so forth. They're good for doing big stuff. Stick welders aren't really brilliant on smaller, thinner stuff. That's where the MIG is handy. So I'm just welding the hinge on there nicely on one side. Move the clamp so I can weld at the bottom. I'm just going to fold that bottom bit in with a chipping hammer using a bit of what's called percussive maintenance, and we're going to weld the other side on there as well so it gives that nice and firm. So if you look to the bottom right, I've got my hammer underneath the door holding it up so the door's nice and straight. The top hinge didn't let go, but I need to put a chock under there to hold the bottom up. So whenever you're hanging a door or that, you put a couple of chocks at the bottom of the door to hold it how far you want it off the floor. So I want it about a hammer hit so it won't get jammed on the little pebbles or rocks around the place. It should open up nicely for me. Now you'll notice I'm using my pliers to put the electrodes into the welding torch because it's a bit damp where I'm kneeling, and because I'm hooked up to the glass house where the metal's going into the ground, there's a slight chance I could get a shock off the welder when I'm putting a new rod in because I'm completing the circuit. So to prevent that from happening, I'm using my pliers to protect the spinal cord stimulator inside me. I don't want to put any electric current through it because that'll wreck it, and then I'll have to go and have another operation and get another one in. So a bit of safety first there, and I'm still doing it there. In bearing that in mind, welders only run at about 30 volts between the torch and the clamp. So 30 volts is what's called extra low voltage, so you can touch that without any detrimental effects to yourself. It's only that I'm full of delicate electronics that I don't want to destroy them. So safety first. So I've got myself an automatic welding helmet, so pretty much essential. When you look at the front, it's a big lens there, and you can see through it, like what I'm doing that there. You can see through it, and then it goes dark the second it starts welding. Very handy, but due to my poor vision, I still pop it up to have a look with my glasses to see what's going on. Just like that, so I can have a good look with my glasses. But automatic helmets are a go-to thing nowadays. Everyone should, if you're doing any welding, you should have one. So now I'm going to do the top hinge, same process again, but the original hinge is still hanging on up there. So I'm just going to remove the paint so that when I weld, the weld will stick nicely to the metal. Because if there's paint there, it just puts contaminants and makes it a bit more difficult to get a weld, and also can make the weld fail. So you'll see I'll make a shadow of the hinge, just making sure I've ground enough paint away there. I'm going to continue grinding around so that my stick weld will get a good fusion or penetration into the steel to hold it all together. So just about done there, and I'm going to grab this, same with this hinge too, I'm going to hit it to fold it to the shape of the star picket so it holds it nicely. So you can see the wind's getting all picking up there and getting really breezy, so I'm just going to use me a little chipping hammer again, like a panel weeder's hammer, to fold it in there. You can see it bending as I'm giving a good old hit with a hammer. And now she's ready to roll, I'll get my welding gear and hook up to it, and we should be in business to finish it off. So I've gone for my welding gloves now, very handy. I should have a long sleeve jacket on, but I'm only doing 2 little welding jobs, so a little bit slack. But if you're doing any sort of welding for any period, you should have your gloves on like I've got on there, and a full welding jacket, because the arc off your welder will give you severe sunburn in a very short period of time, because it's extremely bright and there's a lot of UV rays come off the arc when you're welding. So safety first. And when you see when I'm chipping, I've got my helmet down so that if any hot slag comes back, it's not going to go into my face or my eye. That's extremely painful when that happens. So just tidying up. So when I finish welding there, I give it a good paint with some white paint, but I didn't bother filming myself painting. I'm sure you can all get your mind around how to use a bit of paint and a paintbrush. So I'm coming up to the end there, stuck the old rod. Happens when you stick welding. Sometimes you'll just stick on you because you're not paying attention, and you get a bit, you poke on it a bit hard and it'll stick. So yeah, so as I was saying, I'm hoping to put a few more videos up now. I've got plenty of video footage that I've filmed, but I've only just got a new computer back up and running. My old one died, and between work and looking for computers, I haven't had a machine for a few weeks, and a couple extra weeks to sort stuff out. So now I've got it up and running to do some more videos, which I have plenty of. I just haven't edited them and put them up yet. So I hope you really do enjoy these sort of videos. I like making them. It's basically I'm just doing what I normally do around the place on my days off, because I'm a teacher by day, and do this by weekend and holidays. So I shall have plenty more to come up. And now I'm just going to show you, I make up these little latches for gates and the glass house, where I just get a bit of angle on and cut a groove into it, where you drop the chain through and the links hold it. So it's like a door latch that has no real moving parts. There's a bit of angle on and a bit of chain. It works really well. So I'm just going to do a close-up so you can actually see the groove, how it holds in there. It's a very simple system and very effective. So there you go, lifts off. They drop in, and the go through the link, and you got one at 90 degrees holding it from shutting. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope to have another video up soon for you. Take care.